I'm Paul Mackey, and you're listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts on podcast on day 9 of the Dog Days of Podcasting Challenge. Go to dogdaysofpodcasting.com for full information and a master feed of participants. A couple of days back, Kreg Steppe was using one of the prompts from the Dog Days site and mentioned The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I must have been about 9 or 10 when my late Aunt Joyce left her paperback of the original novel at our lake cabin, and I read it over the course of a weekend and was hooked. This would have been about 1982 or 83 when the trilogy only had 3 novels. KTCA in the Twin Cities showed this TV series not long after I'd finished Restaurant at the End of the Universe. I grabbed So Long and Thanks for All the Fish as soon as it hit paperback. I'm not as big a fan of Mostly Harmless. Adams was working through some stuff and I found it a bit depressing. I don't even actually own a copy of And Another Thing, and I only vaguely remember it, sorry to say. At some point I got the Radio Scripts book and eventually the tapes of the radio series. My friend Rob Shelley and I used the radio scripts to do a scene for Acting 1 at Montana State University. It was the scene where Arthur and Ford were stranded on ancient Earth and saw a spaceship, beckoning it to come down. Yeah, not a Chesterfield sofa on the radio. I wrote a short story in high school that someone compared favorably to Hitchhiker's Guide, and I'm certain that the Adams voice was still permeated through me at the time, so not too surprising, I guess. Well, let's look at those trivia answers for today, shall we? In the movie Donnie Darko, during a hypnotherapy session, Donnie reveals he did not get the game he wanted, a ravenous tabletop game where players tried to get as many marbles as possible, first marketed in 1978. And that answer is Hungry Hungry Hippos. I thought about working in a clue to the hippos themselves. I know that hippos under a disused taxonomy are pachyderms, but these days people mostly go to elephants in their mind when they hear pachyderms. And then, Ron Palillo was famous as Horshack on Welcome Back, Kotter, but in 1983 he did voice work as the personification of a toy sensation in a Ruby Spears Saturday morning cartoon that was paired with the Pac-Man cartoon for a half-season run on ABC. What was that toy which remains popular with some to this day? And that answer is Rubik's Cube. That is Rubik the Amazing Cube television series on ABC. It was notable as the first network animated series to have a primarily Latino cast and characters. I vaguely remember seeing it on the air, but, I was only 10 at the time. So let's go to some new questions. Let's get automotive first. The Beach Boys sang about the 1962 model year of this car with their song 409, but this question looks at the 1967 model year. Now that baby was important to the Winchester family. What model of Chevrolet is that? Then the second question. It's wild that Kevin Parker co-founded Telepathic Instruments in 2024 and they introduced the Orchid portable synthesizer. Australian musician Parker is known as the primary artist for what band? If it helps at all, aside from bands being in both questions, there's an additional link in there somewhere. Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlas.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlas.org.